Democracy Day in Nigeria is being celebrated on the 12th of June this year. This is the second time the day has been marked on this date after the change from the previous May 29, and the change carries heavy symbolism for older Nigerians living in a country that has known more years of being ruled by military men than by democratically elected leaders. On this date in 1993, presidential elections were held for the first time since the 1983 military coup. An estimated 14 million Nigerians came out in a period where religious acrimony and tension had reached its zenith to vote with the hope of ending military dictatorship. However, the euphoria was short-lived. The results of the elections were never released, but unofficial results gathered to various polling stations by civil society groups across the country indicated tremendous support for the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Chief Mashood Kashimao Olawale Abiola.
Now why for this life, oh, now so palaba. I tire for this problem, I tire for life, oh, Guinea. No work, no food, no house, no life. This small water then they bring, now so dirty they pull out. This small money I they get, now so transport they chop out. School low, na headache, hospital no work. I tire for life, oh. My brother, waiting you they think, oh. My sister, help don't come. SDP, MKO, Kingibe, action. MKO, Kingibe, SDP, progress. Abiola na the hope, SDP na the party to solve our problem and better our life, oh. MKO, 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 action. Abiola, 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 progress. Now him be the hope for better tomorrow.
That was the political jingle with which MKO Abiola stormed the Nigerian political scene. Despite his popularity and the turnout of the elections stalled. The then military head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida, decided to annul the results of the elections. It justified the annulment on the grounds that it was necessary to save Nigeria. He alleged that the political activities preceding the elections were inimical to the peace and stability of Nigeria.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral practices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
The annulment came as a shock not only to MKO Abiola but also to the global community that rated the electoral process as a pride to democracy in Africa. Nigerians demonstrated their displeasure over the annulment with protests. Amidst the protests, the seat of power got too hot for General Babangida, which led to his exit of the presidential villa, replacing himself with an interim government led by Chief Ernest Shonekan. Few months later, the interim government was toppled by a palace coup led by late military dictator General Sani Abacha.
Consequently, the following decisions come into immediate effect. The interim national government is hereby dissolved. The national and state assemblies are also dissolved. The state executive councils are dissolved. The brigade commanders are to take over from the governors in their states until administrators are appointed. Where there are no brigade commanders, the commissioners of police in the states are to take over. All local governments stand dissolved. The directors of personnel are to take over the administration of the local governments until administrators are appointed. The National Electoral Commission is hereby dissolved. All former secretaries to federal ministries are to hand over to their director generals until ministers are appointed.
Yet, protests over the elections continued.
It will continue off and on until the military release the result of the June 12 election and put the democratically elected president, who is myself, in charge of affairs.
The determination of the military government to crush the protests and uprisings led to the loss of many lives, and notable Nigerians went into exile. When it was apparent that Sani Abacha was not ready to correct the mistakes of IBB, Chief MKO Abiola had to declare the government of national unity and himself as the president.
Assuming there was good faith on the part of government, all matters relating to the election should have gone to the tribunal set up by law for such cases, and should only have been initiated by persons or bodies that had genuine interest in the election. Instead, we are being told that the judiciary behaved so badly that I, Moshood Kashima Wolawale Abiola, should be penalized for his conduct. It is incredible. In view of all this, I find the conclusion unfortunate but inescapable that the federal military government is guilty of bad faith, pure and simple. No one has accused me of any offense against any known electoral law or regulation. The people of this country went to polls on Saturday, June 12, 1993, and without let or hindrance chose me as their president. Didn't they?
The declaration, however, did not go down well with the military dictator and was seen as a treasonable felony. In June 1994, on the day of his arrest, MKO Abiola called for calm and peace as he spoke to BBC correspondents.
What is happening at your house? Are you being arrested?
I'm being arrested. I'm just going out now with the police.
Hello?
There's a large crowd here, and I was being escorted out to detention by singing the national anthem.
Why are they arresting you?
They are arresting me on an allegation of felony, nameless treason or something like that. They're not doing anything, they're just taking me away. Please let me go. I'm delaying them.
And so where are you now? Are you in your car?
I'm in my car now.
Is it police who are with you in your car, or are they escorted? Are they
Yes, the commissioner of police is in the car with me, and my senior wife is in the car with me.
Why are they letting you talk on the phone to the BBC while they're in the middle of arresting you?
They have come to arrest me, not to arrest my mouth.
You sound very cheerful about it, Chief Abiola.
Of course. It is all part of democracy here.
And you're happy to go to the police and await whatever charges they're going to file against you?
I'm not in any way disturbed by it. Any sacrifice is in order. If it will bring democracy, peace and prosperity to Nigeria.
Is it possible to talk to the Commissioner of Police who's with you in the car?
I don't know if the Commissioner of Police is authorized to talk. He cannot talk to the press.
What is your advice now to your supporters, many of whom we heard a moment ago?
Well, I told them before I left home to just stay calm. It is very, very important that they stay calm.
So you're appealing for calm, you don't want them to take any direct action in your support?
No.
You still say you're the president of Nigeria, but it's not much good if you're going to be in jail.
Well, Mandela was in jail for 27 years. Kenyatta was in jail. I suppose that is one of the qualifications you need in this part of the world. Don't worry yourself, my friend.
For about 4 years, MKO Abiola was incarcerated. The death of General Sani Abacha in 1998 and the subsequent takeover by General Abdulsalami Abubakar offered the opportunity to breathe fresh air again. Unfortunately, this did not last as he died through questionable circumstances. According to reports, he died as a result of what many term a deadly cup of tea. His wife, Kudirat Abiola, also lost her life. June 12 will forever be remembered by many Nigerians, and MKO Abiola the icon of democracy. However, up until today, Nigerians still seek answers as to why the June 12 election was annulled.
I have always said, I looked at June 12 in two ways. The first one, at least for once, Nigerians accepted that it was the freest, the best organized election, free, fair, and so on, all everything. Unfortunately, we cancelled that election. Unfortunately, the elections were not recognized or were announced as we were in government at that time, and meaning the possible consequences that are hanging over that government, a democratic government. When the process was going on, we did swear that ours was going to be the last military coup that we were going to handle. And so we wanted to make sure we handed power to a democratically elected government. To be honest, the situation was not right to hand over at that time. Forget about the wrong things that the political parties said. No, that is not the issue. And we considered that we would have failed after handing over power. 6 months is kicked out. Security threat is that there was all this fear. I went through a coup d'etat. I survived a coup d'etat. He did not want it to happen, and it would have been a bit bloody. But then, not many people want to believe what we said.
Nigerians celebrate Nigeria's democracy and all those who lost their lives fighting for it, as we pray that the labors of our heroes past shall never be in vain. One nation bound in freedom, peace, and unity.